Hi, my name is David Sayre I'm the product support specialist at Blue Moon Industries, and I'm going to be talking about project tracking for GP. A little bit about us. We have products in GP, BC, 365, Finance, and Acumatica, and we've been developing since 1994. We have over 2,000 customers using our products today. What I'm going to show you is how to customize your projects inside GP. You can also create and personalize your reporting along with out of the project analysis reporting that the product has. And you can create custom budgets for your projects, which can include subdivisions of your project. We'll come back to the slide later, but in case you have any questions, you can contact us at channelmanagement@bluemoonisb.com. Our website is www.bluemoonisb.com, and we can be reached on the phone number at 401-276-9000. So as we're showing, the product actually sits inside GP to make it look like a natural GP, and you can customize your setups as much as you want. The way you're going to be distributing a transaction to a project is you're going to be distributing by a project ID, by the amount type, and your first subdivision is breakdown code, but you have up to 7 additional subdivisions, which are user defined fields that you can define the label and the values for. It also works in the various modules from general ledger, payables, receivables, invoicing, entries, sales order processing, purchase order processing, US payroll, cash receipts, uh, as well as inventory entry. And we have another product called subscription billing, which it integrates with as well. For your first level subdivision, it's breakdown codes, which each breakdown code is actually based on an amount type, which is how the product actually determines if it's a revenue or an expense. The types of expenses could be also differentiated between labor and material expenses, whereas revenues could be considered your cash, your sales as revenue, and adjustments are basically considered as an adjustment to the product. When you're ready to create your project, you would just actually open up the project card. You would enter an ID, or you can have project tracking set up default the next available numbering scheme for you. And from here, you could also set up defaults. So if you are using those user-defined fields, you can actually predetermine, pre-set up defaults as well. I could also set up a default and do a limiting. So I could have multiple user-defined field values for each one. But if I distribute this project to a transaction, I could limit which user-defined fields are available to it. I could do that same limiting at the project card for the breakdown codes as well. For the user-defined fields, it's a simple ID and description of the value that you would enter as part of your setups. When you're actually ready to distribute the transactions to your projects, you would be creating your transaction as you normally would. And then you would select additional project distribution from the transaction or Control J, which would open up the distribution entries. This will actually pick up all the distribution rows for each line item. So if there's a cost of goods sold for the actual item, it will put it as estimated cost of material. If you have a trade discount, it would actually add that as well. And it's linking the actual project distributions to every single line item in this case. I can distribute all the lines to the same project, or if I wanted to, I can actually set this one to be a different project entirely. Now I defaulted my breakdown code. It actually defaulted from setup because I actually had mine set up. Actually had the project card to default that in. If I needed to split a specific line to multiple projects, I actually can do that in project tracking as well. I would just add the additional row, choose the account that I'm going to be splitting, set the amount type and the breakdown code, as well as choose how much. So I would make this change to reduce the amount and set the amount on the new line that I'm adding. And I forgot to set up the estimated ones. When I'm ready to post, I would just post as per normal. It will actually move the distributions for the project from the work table to its own open table, which you can actually review the project itself. From the increase screen, it also has its own advanced reporting options through advanced analytics inquiry. So from this window, you can actually create your own customized reporting aspect on it. Where I can actually add and choose the columns I want to add. I could also do my custom grouping. So that way I can group the distributions by any field that I want, or if I even wanted to do multiple groupings. Which gives a sum footer on all the amount fields. And then I can actually export this to Excel, XML, HTML, as well as a test file. It also has a print preview option. So if I want to format as an actual document, a PDF document, and add my watermarks or a header, I can. It also has its out-of-the-box project analysis reporting. Which is basically going to give you a P&L report. That has to do with customization, which is not installed in this environment. We're going to go to reports 5. The custom group mat. That error actually has to do with another customization for project tracking was for another client. So that's not in this environment. We did a custom reporting aspect for them. For this project, you can actually also create your budgets. It has an additional add-on module that can be purchased. So if I wanted to, I can actually create a budget for those projects, which that budget could actually be by your fiscal period, or you can actually customize it if you're going to be budgeting quarterly, monthly, bi-monthly. You can do that, or if it's just a budget for the project overall. Which I could set my amounts, I can confirm it and authorize it. Once the budget is actually created, you can approve the budget, which closes the revision number. The next time I open up the budget in budget maintenance, it recognizes that the budget is already approved, and it would ask you to create a new revision. Once the new revision is created, it copies the original budget amount to the new revision, and you would make your changes. That way you can actually keep track of your changes if you have to make changes to your budget. So you can go and identify, oh, this amount changed. Plus, you can also add your noting on each one, why the revision was changed. I could do it per row, or I could do it overall at the budget. If I needed to budget by those user-defined fields, I can actually have it set up on the project card to also budget by those subdivisions. The product itself also comes with its own smart list objects out of the box. So if you needed to do a quick review of all your projects, you can see what has been posted, what has been unposted project distributions, closed. You could also review your budget detail variance, your budget detail setup, your actuals. We also have one called AP transactions with PT, which this environment appears to be frozen. I had all those reports printing. What this smart list object is if you're doing purchasing for AP transactions, it gives you all your current open and work AP transactions, and also displays if it was distributed to a project. It only displays the distribution rows that can be distributed to a project. This smart list object is actually meant as a template, because we also have a third option that can be purchased, which is importer. With the importer, I can actually use it as a way of creating new projects from a CSV file, or I can actually use it to add project adjustments to the project, which can be creating the GL as well, or without creating the GL. So that way it doesn't affect your chart of account balances. It also can be used to add project tracking to a project for AP vouchers. So I can use this smart list as my existing template for all my existing AP that has been posted or has been posted but is still open or worked, and export it out and assign the distribution rows to a project, then import it back in. The file types could be tab delimited, comma delimited, fixed field width as well. And for this, the importer, I would just basically map the fields. So what's on the file that I would map as well. With the importer, I could also, it has the ability, if you have budgeting as well, to use a budget importer. So you can actually import your budget from a CSV file as well, or tab delimited or fixed field width. So you could create new budgets using the importer if it's all in the CSV file, or you can actually utilize that existing smart list for your budget. So if you have a budget already set up for your project, I can export this out, update the values accordingly, and import it back in to create the new revision. If I want to create template projects, I can create template projects and use this to create the new projects to copy from the template. If that template also has a predetermined budget set up, it could also be used to copy the budget over when creating the new project. If you already have another project that has a budget set up, that's going to be the same type of budget on the other project that you just finished setting up, you can use the copy budget to do that as well. Once your project is closed and complete, if you want to prevent any user from actually distributing to that project, you can actually close the project. Closing project moves it from an open table to a historical table. So you can no longer distribute that any transactions to that project, but you can still see the reporting data for it. If you accidentally close one, but you have something else that has to go to it and you need to reopen it, you can reopen the project and then distribute. With
All right,
this,
David, I'm just giving you your time warning. You're over time.
2-minute warning.
Well, actually, you're already over time, but
I'm already over time. Okay. Just a basic note instead of showing, you can distribute posted transactions through this module as well. So the transaction can be posted or unposted. There's an add update ability. If you need to make adjustments to the project, you can for starting balances for those clients that actually have an existing project system outside of GP, but they want to introduce this, they can actually create an adjustment to create their starting balances.
all right.
And David, fun fact, Dynamic Budgets is integrated with project tracking. We can actually take your project budgets and roll them up into the corporate GL budgets.
Yes, you can.